What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. On today's episode, we're going to break down my takeaways from the Bulls' first preseason game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Who shined, who didn't, what's my concerns, what am I hopeful for? We'll get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So as you guys know, the Bulls had their first preseason game against the New Orleans Pelicans last night. And unfortunately, this game was a loss. And it was with the starters out there, it was even worse. I think they were down by like 19 points. It was ugly out there at times. And so I want to talk about some of my takeaways, some of my concerns, some of the things that I saw and noticed in this first preseason game. And the first one is the defense is going to be an issue. At least the interior defense. Some things out on the perimeter may work themselves out, but it's going to be some serious dark days unless this team, and again, all these are based off one preseason game. We can see another preseason game in which they totally go away. So I want to be clear with that. This is just me basing it off what I saw in this one preseason game, and we'll see how it translates to the season and as it continues to go on the preseason. But the defense is a big concern for this team. Interior defense, specifically Zion, got to do whatever he wanted to do, and that's similar to what we did against dominant centers last season. I know Zion is not a center, but considering how he gets his offense is very similar to how the dominant centers do. The interior defense is going to be an issue. And then some of the things out on the perimeter concern me a little bit as well. Now, we saw that get a little bit better as the game went on, especially in the second half, in which a lot of our starters were still out there. We did see things look a little bit better, but it is a concern for me, at least there. Now, one of the positive things that I will say on this team is that DeMar DeRozan is ready to go. Like, let's be clear here. DeMar DeRozan is still, anyone who's worried about a decline from DeMar DeRozan, don't even worry about it. Let's look at DeMar's stat line. 23 minutes, 5 for 9 from the field, 11 for 12 from free throw range, 21 points, 3 turnovers, 1 block, 2 steals, 3 assists, in only 23 minutes per game. And we know DeMar is going to get a lot more than that, so even more opportunity. DeMar is ready to go. And along with Nikola Vucevic is focused. He looked a little bit lighter on his feet, a little bit more focused on the defensive end. He had 4 blocks in this game in 23 minutes for DeMar. He also, a double-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks, only 1 turnover from him. Had a positive plus-minus of +4 in a game in which we were down a lot when the starters were out there. And then also his passing, just some of the ways that that Nikola Vucevic passed and got players open, it looked very good out there. And I think that looking at what I can see as far as building on this is that it looks like they're going to use Nikola Vucevic as a little bit more of a building block to the offense than maybe what we did last season. And if that continues to be true, I think that's going to bode well for the Chicago Bulls as well. Now, another thing that shined to me, we'll get to what we're all going to want to talk about at some point, but out of the potential starting point guards for this team, Goran Dragic just looked either disinterested. Now, again, it's a preseason game for a veteran player, so you may just not have been locked in. But Goran Dragic in his 13 minutes, only 1 for 4 from the field, a negative plus-minus of -13. Alex Caruso didn't look too good out there, but he looked better than Goran Dragic for sure. But again, the one thing that I will say about when Alex Caruso was out there is that the offense moved a lot more freely when Caruso was out there. Now, he did play 17 minutes. He was 4 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from three-point range. He had 9 points overall, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, played a little bit better. The starting point guard from last night, Ayo Dosunmu, 23 minutes, 3 for 5, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers from Ayo Dosunmu. But I don't think any of the point guards did anything, at least in this game, to really separate themselves, to clearly take that starting point guard role. But I would say this: if you thought that Goran Dragic was going to be the starting point guard, at least in this game, it left a lot to be desired as far as just how he looked out there on the court, I think. Zach LaVine seems primed and ready to go too. It's kind of hard to determine. Zach LaVine did go into a zone, I think it was towards the end of the second quarter, in which he went off a little bit. He scored 3 for 6 overall from the field, 2 for 4 from three-point range, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, unfortunately, and 10 points. The passing has to get better. The Bulls in this game, 26 turnovers overall. That's not going to cut it. I'm going to let you know that right now. But the shining thing that's going to shine in this game always is that the rookie Dalen Terry was active. And that's one of the biggest takeaways from this game is Dalen Terry is going to be active. That Swiss Army knife type style that we thought and that I talked about Dalen Terry could be, he flashed all of that in this game. 18 minutes from Dalen Terry, 5 for 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from three-point range, but he had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 11 points. Very good output from Dalen Terry. But something that I think, and someone that I think shined even more than Dalen Terry is Javonte Green. 21 minutes in this game, 18 points, 5 rebounds, only 1 turnover. Like Javonte Green showed why he may be a more versatile weapon coming off the bench. As I've been saying for the most part of the summer, is that Javonte Green coming off the bench and what he's able to do, the many different positions he's able to play if needed, could be very dangerous for the Chicago Bulls team. And that definitely reared its head in this one. Outside of that, one of the things that are a big concern in this, one of the things that we talked about over on Locked on Bulls and what could change this rotation is that we're going to play small. And that was even more shown by the fact that Marko Simonovic did not get a single minute. The only healthy player available that did not play a single minute, Tony Bradley, Kostas Antetokounmpo, both 7 minutes each got off the bench before Marko Simonovic. That is concerning, especially when you look at, he was only a second-round pick, but a lot of people did think that he could be something for the Bulls. And it's weird because, like I've said before, with Marko, I don't think he can gain anything else from the G League, really. And then if he's not ready for the NBA competition at this level to where the coach trusts even putting him in garbage time in a preseason game, that's going to bring a lot of concerns heading into the actual season for Marko Simonovic and overall, at this point, his NBA career. Now, Marko didn't play too well over in Eurobasket either. So at this point, like it's really, really getting concerning when it comes to Marko Simonovic and what that's going to look like for him. But outside of that, like even the 2 big men that got off the bench before him, Tony Bradley is still very much Tony Bradley, out there uncoordinated. He did have 4 points in this game, but nothing to call home about. Kostas Antetokounmpo at times looked like he didn't know where he needed to be. The ball handling was bad. Like he couldn't protect the ball. Some defensive rotations look kind of good at times, but it just was some concerns there. But again, these are players that you're not expecting to be a big part of your Chicago Bulls team once the regular season starts. But I know there were some people that thought, hey, maybe Kostas is going to be replace Tony Bradley on this roster. And if he does, it's going to be a lot of the same, at least it looks like from one preseason game. Now, Andre Drummond, it's kind of hard for me to judge Andre Drummond. It seemed like he was out of rhythm, seemed like he was out of sync. There were times where, he jumped too early for a rebound. Now, even in this game, he did get 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. So it's not terrible. 4 points as well for Andre Drummond in that stat line. But, he's going to rebound the ball very well for us. We know that. And his passing is kind of there too, but it seemed like he was just kind of out of sync, so it's hard to judge him on this game. But again, it's a preseason game for a veteran player who's been in the league over a decade, so it's kind of hard to do that with that one. But at least looking at it, that's kind of my takeaway as well. But Patrick Williams as well. I want to talk about Patrick Williams before we go. Didn't see the results, right? 17 minutes, 2 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3-point range. He had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and 5 points in the game. He had a positive plus-minus of +7, though. But in this game, you did see Patrick Williams be more aggressive. That's what we wanted to see. He was more decisive in the way that he shot the ball. He took those shots confidently. When they pushed out to him, he tried to get to the cup. He took his 3-point shot confidently. When they left that open for him, he just didn't knock it down in this game. And so if that starts falling, it's a more positive outlook for Patrick Williams. But looking at it, he took 7 shots in 17 minutes. Keep in mind, Patrick Williams has averaged in his career over 20 minutes per game, but has only averaged 6 shots per game in that time. For his career, Patrick Williams averaged 7.2 shots on 27 minutes per game. So considering he played 10 minutes less than his average, but took the same amount of shots, didn't hit it at the greatest clip, but took the same amount of shots, could bode well for him being a little bit more aggressive in this upcoming season. And that's what we want to see from Patrick Williams. So if that happens, if he's a little bit more confident, good. Hopefully this game doesn't shake his confidence too much to where now he doesn't shoot it or he's hesitant to shoot it at all. But as well, so that's kind of some things to talk about with this Bulls team. But listen, this New Orleans Pelicans team is going to be dangerous. They came in prepared, and that's one of the things that does concern me. And I guess another takeaway from this team and from this game is that this team just didn't seem prepared. They didn't seem locked in. The offensive scheme didn't seem what we expected it to be, and just how they've talked about the offense and the randomness and things like that. The defense wasn't that good either. And in the live stream that we did after the game, a lot of the people in it asked, what's going on with Billy Donovan's coaching? And that is a big thing in this, is what is actually going on with Billy Donovan's coaching? What is that scheme going to be? The takeaway from that as far as this coaching staff is that, at least in this first game, the New Orleans Pelicans seemed way more prepared than what this team did. And that's been one of my problems with Billy Donovan, is that in all the clips that have come out from training camp that I've posted here, Billy Donovan said all the right things, motivated the team, seemed rah-rah, seemed energetic, seemed all these things, but we don't see that translate to results in what we see on the basketball court. That is concerning for me. For me. Let me know if it's concerning for you, but it definitely brings some concerns for me in that. So I guess we'll see how it continues to evolve and things like that. But overall, it raises a lot of questions on if this team is going to make the adjustments that we hope that they're going to make to their offensive and defensive scheme. And I guess in a way, some of that was answered, like I said, going to Vooch a little bit more down low, playing off him a little bit more than what we've seen last season. Those type of things were there a little bit as well. Patrick Williams getting more plays called for him also. So I guess it is there, but maybe it's the execution. I don't know, but some of those questions there. But shout out to Zion Williamson, 13 points in this game, in his first games in over a year. He hasn't played since March 2021. So, I mean, May 2021, 15 minutes played for him, 4 for 6 from the field. He looked great. And the New Orleans Pelicans team that didn't have Brandon Ingram beat the Chicago Bulls. But let me know down below, what are some of your takeaways from this game, both positive and negative? Who stood out to you? The rookie Dalen Terry is legit. And before we go, let's just talk about that. I know I talked about it briefly, Dalen Terry getting active, but Dalen Terry, especially with the injury to Kobe White, which I guess we should talk about as well. Kobe White goes down with a knee contusion. May not be anything that keeps him out for a long amount of time, but if he does miss the next game, don't be surprised if Dalen Terry gets in the game earlier and we see what he really has against maybe a little bit better competition than this garbage time that he played now. But Dalen Terry flashing all of that, and he very well, like Ayo Dosunmu last season, may have just woke up Billy Donovan to say, hey, this kid needs to play. His energy alone, the passing, the court vision that he showed, the getting out, him slipping and falling, great energy there. But just Malcolm Hill almost changed the tide of this game by themselves alone. And Malcolm Hill, I didn't mention him as well. Malcolm Hill, 10 minutes in this one, 4 for 7, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Malcolm Hill, very well, may walk himself into a roster spot again for this team. But the rookie just shined in this game, and I was so happy to see it. The Bulls seemingly maybe have done it again with Dalen Terry. But let me know what you guys think about everything down below. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, you can send us a text and our voicemail, 773-270-2799. Thank you for being the best part of Chicago Bulls Central. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.